The sky was quiet above the scrapyard. Only the soft hum of broken machines filled the air. Ethan wiped the oil from his hands and looked at the small table he had set beside his workshop. A small cake waited there, its candles unlit, and next to it sat his daughter Lily, smiling wide with a paper hat on her head. "Happy birthday, Dad," she said, her voice sweet and full of excitement. Ethan smiled back, tired but happy. "Thanks, kiddo," he replied. "Let's eat before the lights go out again." But before he could sit, a deep roar shook the ground. The sky flashed bright orange as something tore through the clouds, leaving a trail of fire behind. Ethan's smile faded. "That's not a meteor," he muttered. The burning object crashed beyond the ridge, sending a shockwave that rattled the metal around them. Lily gasped. "Dad, what was that?" Ethan grabbed his jacket and flashlight. "Stay here," he said, but she followed anyway. "Someone might be hurt," he added. The two ran through the dust and darkness. The night smelled of burnt metal. When they reached the ridge, Ethan stopped, his eyes widened. A ship, sleek but broken, lay twisted against the rocks, pieces still burning. Inside the wreckage, a soft cry echoed. "Not human." Ethan rushed forward, ignoring the heat. His boots crunched over shards of alien metal. He pushed aside a piece of hull and froze. There, in the flickering light, was a woman, blue-skinned, her skin faintly glowing. Her silver eyes stared at him in fear. Beside her was a smaller figure, a child with the same glowing skin, crying softly. Ethan raised his hand slowly. "It's okay," he said. "I won't hurt you." The alien mother said something in a language he couldn't understand. Her voice trembled. He pointed to himself, "Human," then pointed to her injured arm. "Help." For a moment she hesitated, then nodded weakly. Ethan moved closer and wrapped a cloth around her wound. His hands shook a little, not from fear, but from the strange wonder of it all. He could feel her skin radiating faint warmth. Lily stepped closer, wide-eyed. "Dad, she's beautiful." "Yeah," he whispered, "and she's hurt." The ship groaned behind them, sparks flying. "We have to move," Ethan said. He lifted the alien woman carefully. The child clung to his leg, tiny fingers glowing faintly. They ran from the wreck just as another explosion burst behind them, throwing heat and smoke into the air. The night lit up like day. The alien mother gasped for breath, whispering words that sounded like thanks. When they finally reached the safety of the workshop, Ethan laid her on the floor. He turned to Lily. "Get the first aid kit." She nodded and ran. He cleaned the wound and wrapped it tight. "You'll be okay," he said softly. She looked at him again, her voice weak but clear. "Human, kind." Ethan paused, startled. "You speak English?" She shook her head slowly, struggling. "Learn from listen." The child sat beside her mother, touching her face gently. Ethan watched them, something heavy forming in his chest. These weren't monsters or invaders. They were scared, lost, and alone. Lily returned and knelt beside them, handing over the kit. "Dad, what will happen to them?" "I don't know," he said. "But we can't just leave them." Outside, the fire from the crash still burned bright, smoke rising into the night sky. Somewhere out there, sirens began to wail. The authorities would notice soon, and when they did, they wouldn't be kind. Ethan looked at the alien mother again, her eyes half closed, her breathing slowing. He knew he had to hide them. He owed her that much. She had trusted him when she could have run. "Lily," he said quietly, "bring blankets. We'll keep them warm." The little girl nodded and hurried off. Ethan turned back to the alien child, who now stared at him curiously. She reached out a glowing hand and touched his cheek. "Warm," she said, the word clumsy but clear. Ethan smiled. "Yeah, kid, you too." He looked at the small cake on the table through the workshop window, its candles still unlit. He sighed. It was supposed to be his birthday, but tonight felt like something far bigger. As the night deepened, the stars above shimmered brighter than usual. The universe had sent him a gift, but not one wrapped in paper or candles. Instead, it came in the form of a frightened alien mother and her child. And deep down, Ethan felt that his life, and perhaps the fate of both their worlds, had just changed forever. The night grew colder around the workshop. Ethan worked quietly, checking the alien woman's pulse again and again. Her skin glowed faintly under the dim yellow light. The small alien child sat near the heater, clutching Lily's old blanket, her bright eyes wide with curiosity. Lily leaned beside her father, whispering, "Dad, what if someone finds out?" Ethan shook his head slowly. "Then we'll protect them," he said. "That's what we do." Outside, the wind howled, carrying the smell of burnt metal. The wreck site still smoked in the distance. But for now, no one had come. The authorities were busy with power outages from the crash, and the world had not yet noticed the visitors hiding in his small metal shed. The alien mother stirred weakly, her voice soft and trembling. "Ship, gone," she whispered. "Home far." Ethan nodded. "Yeah, I saw," he said, "but you're safe here." She looked at him with a tired but curious gaze. "Why help?" Ethan paused, staring at the ground for a moment. "Because it's right," he said finally. "Because no one deserves to die alone." Her eyes softened, her hand trembling slightly as she touched his wrist. It was a simple gesture, but it felt like understanding. Meanwhile, Lily and the alien child were sitting by the table. Lily offered her a cookie. The little one sniffed it first, then smiled shyly and took a bite, crumbs falling over her glowing hands. She giggled softly, a sound that filled the room with warmth. Ethan smiled at the sight, for a moment forgetting the chaos outside, but then something on his workbench beeped, a low pulsing light. It was his old signal scanner, the one he used to pick up radio chatter from nearby stations. Now it was flashing red. He frowned and checked the screen. Strange symbols appeared, then shifted into broken frequencies. "That's not local," he muttered. The alien mother's eyes widened as she heard the sound. Her breathing quickened. "Signal them," she whispered. "Who's them?" Ethan asked. She closed her eyes, her voice shaking. "Hunters, they come for us." A chill ran through Ethan's spine. "Hunters?" The woman nodded slowly. "They follow refugees, to destroy, no witness." Ethan's heart pounded. He turned off the scanner and unplugged it. "No one's finding you here," he said firmly. "I won't let them." But outside, above the clouds, something was already moving, far away but coming closer. A faint hum, like engines in the night, unseen but echoing through the stars. Hours passed. The alien mother finally slept, her chest rising and falling steadily. Ethan sat beside her, his wrench still in hand like a weapon. He stared at the workshop door, listening to every sound, every gust of wind. Lily slept in a chair beside the alien child, their small hands resting close together, two different worlds sharing one dream. Ethan looked at them and whispered to himself, "What are we getting into, kid?" Just before dawn, he stepped outside. The cold air bit his skin. He looked at the horizon. The wreckage still smoldered, black smoke rising into the pale sky. He thought about calling someone, maybe the military, but then he remembered the look in that alien mother's eyes. Fear, exhaustion, and hope. He couldn't betray that. As he turned to go back inside, a strange light blinked from the sky. A blue shimmer, slow and rhythmic, like a signal. It wasn't from Earth. Ethan stared for a long time, his breath misting in the cold air. He didn't understand the pattern, but he knew one thing. The universe hadn't finished with them yet. He walked back into the workshop, shutting the door behind him. The alien mother was awake again, her silver eyes glowing softly. "You saw it," she said quietly. Ethan nodded. "Yeah," he replied, "and I think they're coming." She looked down at her child, who now slept peacefully beside Lily. "Then, we must leave soon." Ethan clenched his jaw. "No one's going anywhere until you're strong enough," he said. "You're under my roof now." She blinked slowly, confused by his words. "Roof," she repeated softly. He smiled faintly. "It means your family, at least for now." For a moment, she just stared at him, then smiled faintly in return. It was the first true smile he'd seen on her face. The wind rattled the windows, the scanner still glowing faintly under its cover. And though Ethan didn't know it yet, that small act of kindness, helping a stranger from another world, was about to pull him into something far larger than he could ever imagine. And as the first light of morning touched the edge of the sky, the world of one human and one alien family quietly began to change. The morning light crept through the cracked window of Ethan's workshop. The smell of burnt metal still hung in the air, but inside, everything was calm for the first time since the crash. The alien mother rested against the wall, her wound healing faster than any humans would, faint lines of light pulsing under her skin like living circuits. Lily was drawing on an old notepad, trying to explain Earth things to the alien child. "This is a dog," she said, showing her a messy sketch. The little one tilted her head. "Dog," she repeated slowly, giggling. Ethan smiled quietly from across the room. It was strange how normal this felt already. But peace never lasted long. A low rumble shook the ground, so faint it could have been a truck passing on the distant road. Ethan froze. His eyes darted to the scanner, still covered by a cloth. The alien mother's ears twitched, her eyes widening. "They are near," she whispered. Ethan pulled the cloth away. The screen flickered to life, showing static and then symbols he couldn't read. The signal was stronger now, faster, repeating in a pattern. The alien mother stood weakly. "Hunters, tracking signal," she said, panic flickering across her glowing face. He clenched his fists. "How far?" She looked toward the window, as if sensing through the air. "Close, sky soon." Ethan ran to the workbench, grabbing his old rifle. Rusty, but still working. "You two hide in the storage room," he said to Lily and the alien child. "Don't come out unless I call." The alien mother grabbed his arm, her grip surprisingly strong. "They not like human," she said. "They destroy everything." Ethan looked her in the eyes, calm but firm. "Then they'll find I'm not easy to destroy." Outside, the hum grew louder, a strange rhythmic vibration that made the air shimmer. He stepped into the sunlight and looked up. For a moment, he saw nothing. Then three shapes broke through the clouds, sleek black crafts, silent but deadly. His heart pounded. "Damn," he muttered. They were searching, beams of pale blue light scanning the ground. One passed dangerously close to the scrapyard. Inside, the alien mother activated a small cube from her belt. It glowed bright and hummed softly, projecting a faint field around the building. "Camouflage," she whispered. "Hide us from eyes." Ethan turned as the air around the workshop shimmered slightly, like heat waves. The ships above passed over them once, twice, then veered toward the crash site. For now, they were safe. But the alien mother's breathing quickened. "They will not stop," she said. "They smell energy. They come back." Ethan wiped sweat from his brow. "Then we'll move before that." As night fell again, he loaded supplies into his old truck. Tools, food, blankets, everything he could carry. Lily helped, her small hands steady despite the fear in her eyes. The alien child watched her, copying every move, trying to be brave. Ethan looked at the alien mother. "Can you travel?" She nodded weakly. "Yes. Need to reach mountains," she said. "There, no signal, safe." "Then that's where we'll go," he said. Before leaving, Ethan turned off every light in the workshop. He looked one last time at the half-eaten birthday cake still sitting on the table. The candles had melted into the frosting, forgotten but still there. He smiled faintly. "Guess I'll celebrate next year," he whispered. They drove through the night, the truck rumbling over rough ground. Above them, faint streaks of light crossed the sky. The hunters searching. The alien mother sat beside him, holding her child close, her silver eyes glowing faintly. After hours of silence, she spoke. "Your world, kind," she said softly, "but dangerous too." Ethan nodded. "Yeah," he replied. "Kind and dangerous, both at once." She looked at him curiously. "You help, but no reward." He smiled without looking at her. "Helping you is reward enough." She didn't answer, just watched him with an unreadable expression, somewhere deep inside. She was trying to understand why a human would risk everything for strangers from another world. As dawn broke again, they reached the edge of the forest. Mist rolled through the trees, and the sound of engines faded behind them. For the first time since the crash, the alien mother relaxed. Ethan parked the truck. "We'll rest here for a while," he said, "then move at first light." The alien child fell asleep in Lily's lap, the two girls breathing softly in rhythm. The sight made something warm rise in Ethan's chest. He looked at the alien mother, her face calm but tired. "Who are they really?" he asked. "Those hunters." She looked at the horizon, her voice quiet. "Once, they were us," she said. "Now, only darkness." Ethan didn't understand fully, but he knew one thing. The war she was running from was far from over. And now, It had found its way to Earth. And as the first birds sang in the pale light, Ethan realized something had changed inside him. He wasn't just a mechanic or a father anymore. He was a protector of something far bigger than himself. The universe had chosen him, whether he liked it or not, and he wasn't going to back down. The mountain air was thin and cold. Ethan's breath came out in clouds as he parked the truck near an old abandoned cabin. It had been years since anyone lived there. Broken windows, cracked wood, and a silence that felt heavy. But to him, it was perfect. Stay inside, he told Lily and the alien child. No fire, no light. The alien mother followed him out, her cloak wrapped tightly around her glowing skin. Every step she took left faint traces of light in the snow, like tiny stars melting away. Ethan looked back at her. You sure they can't find us here? She nodded slowly. Mountains block signal, she said. Old minerals here confuse them. Ethan didn't know if that was true, but he trusted her voice. It carried a quiet certainty that made him believe. Inside the cabin, he cleared dust from a small table and laid out tools. He was thinking, always thinking, how to keep them safe, how to stay hidden, how to prepare if the hunters came again. Lily sat with the alien child, who had finally told her name. Sarah, she said shyly, pointing to herself. Lily smiled. I'm Lily, she replied. The two giggled softly, drawing in the dust with sticks. The alien mother watched them with a faint smile. Then she turned to Ethan. You have strong heart, she said quietly. Most run from danger. You run toward it. Ethan chuckled softly. Yeah, well, it's kind of a problem. But her expression grew serious. You must know truth, she said. He looked at her, confused. Truth about what? She took a deep breath, light pulsing along her neck like glowing veins. Hunters, not just killers, she said. They once were my people. Ethan frowned. Your people? She nodded, her silver eyes darkening. Long ago, our world divided. Some believed in peace, others in power. Those who wanted control made machines. They fused with them, became something cold, empty. They hunt us now, to erase what remains human inside us. Ethan felt a chill run through him. So they're after you because you're different. Yes, she whispered, because we still feel. He stared at her for a long moment, then said softly, then you're not alone anymore. Outside, the wind howled through the trees, snowflakes spinning like stars. The silence was broken by a faint hum. Her cube device again, glowing softly. She held it up. This keeps them blind, but power is low. Ethan stepped closer. Can you fix it? She shook her head. Need crystal from ship. Broken now. He thought for a second, then looked out the window toward the dark valley below. Then we'll go get it. Her eyes widened. No, too dangerous. He smiled faintly. You forget, I fix things for a living. She wanted to argue, but the look in his eyes stopped her. There was a fire there, quiet but unstoppable. That night, Ethan prepared. He cleaned his rifle, packed tools, and drew a rough map from memory. Lily hugged him tightly. Dad, please don't go, she whispered. He smiled. I'll be back before sunrise. The alien mother stepped forward, holding out a small crystal pendant glowing faintly. This will hide you for short time, she said. When it dims, return. He took it, his hand brushing hers. Her skin was warm, almost human. For a moment, neither spoke, but something passed between them. Trust, maybe something more. Ethan moved down the mountain under the cover of night. The world was silent except for the crunch of snow beneath his boots. When he reached the wreck site, the air shimmered with faint blue light from the hunter's scans. He hid behind a rock, waiting. 2 hunter drones hovered above the wreck, sleek black shells humming with energy. Their movements were precise, inhuman. Ethan's heart raced. He crawled closer, searching for the crystal she described. He found it wedged beneath a burned panel, glowing faintly. He reached for it, then froze. One of the drones turned, scanning. A beam of blue light swept across the snow. He stayed perfectly still, his breath shallow. The crystal flickered, the pendant on his neck pulsing faintly in response. The drone passed over him without stopping, then drifted away. He exhaled slowly, grabbed the crystal, and crawled back into the shadows. Hours later, he returned to the cabin, his clothes torn, face pale, but in his hand, the crystal shimmered. The alien mother gasped. You did it. He handed it to her with a tired smile. Told you. I fixed things. She placed the crystal into the cube, and it came alive, lights spilling across the walls like waves. The hum deepened, strong again. Now, we safe, she whispered. Ethan sat down, exhausted. For how long? She looked at him with a soft smile. Long enough. Outside, the dawn broke over the frozen peaks, painting the snow in gold, for the first time since the crash. There was peace, but in the shadows of the stars above, the hunters were already changing course, drawn to the same mountain, silent and patient. And though Ethan didn't know it yet, the true battle for survival had only just begun. Snow fell silently over the mountain that night. The cabin glowed faintly inside, warm lights spilling through broken windows. Ethan sat near the door, rifle across his lap, listening to the wind. The alien mother sat close by, repairing the cube with gentle precision, her fingers moving with an otherworldly grace. Lily and Sarah slept together under blankets, their small hands still clasped even in dreams. Ethan smiled softly, but his heart felt heavy. He knew peace like this never lasted long. The alien mother broke the silence. You risk life for strangers, she said quietly. Why? He looked at her. Because I see something worth saving, he replied. Because you're not strangers anymore. Her silver eyes softened. You speak like my people once did, she whispered, before war changed us. Before Ethan could answer, a deep vibration rolled through the air. The wooden floor trembled. Dust fell from the ceiling. The alien mother stood sharply. They found us, she said, her voice tense. Ethan ran to the window. His breath caught. 3 dark shapes descended from the clouds, black as shadows. Their lights swept across the snow like silent knives. Get the kids, he said. Now. She rushed to Lily and Sarah, pulling them close. Ethan grabbed the cube and shoved it into his bag. We moved through the back tunnel, he said, pointing to a narrow passage carved into rock. It leads to the cliffs. But before they could move, a blast hit the cabin. The walls shuddered, glass shattered. A burst of blue light ripped through the door. Ethan shielded them as smoke filled the air. The hunters had arrived. Tall, metallic beings stepped through the broken doorway, their armor gleaming with shifting lights. Their movements were smooth, mechanical, and terrifyingly precise. The alien mother raised her hand, her skin glowing bright. The cube pulsed and released a wave of energy. It hit the first hunter, bending its metal frame, sparks bursting from its chest. Ethan fired his rifle, the shot echoing through the cabin. The bullet hit the second hunter's head, shattering its mask. Run, he shouted, grabbing the bag. He pushed Lily and Sarah through the tunnel, the alien mother following close behind. Another blast hit the roof, fire spreading fast. They stumbled through the dark tunnel, their breaths heavy. Behind them, the ground shook with explosions. Ethan turned once, seeing the cabin collapse in flames. His home was gone. When they reached the cliffs, the wind cut sharp and cold. The world stretched below, a sea of fog and moonlight. Ethan looked back. The hunters were still coming, their lights glowing through the smoke. We can't outrun them, he said, pulling out the cube. Can this thing fight? The alien mother hesitated. Not weapon, she said. It protects, not destroys. Ethan gritted his teeth. Then I'll be the weapon. He placed the cube on the ground, its light spreading across the snow in a wide circle. Stay in the field, he said. Don't leave no matter what. She looked at him, fear and gratitude in her eyes. Ethan, they will kill you. He smiled faintly. Maybe, but not before I make them regret coming here. The hunters emerged from the tunnel, their weapons glowing. Ethan fired first, 1 shot, 2, then 3. Each echoed through the valley. He moved like a man who had nothing left to lose, his every breath clouded in the freezing air. 1 hunter fell, another staggered, the third raised its arm, firing a beam that hit the ground near him, throwing him backward. He landed hard, gasping, blood in his mouth. The alien mother screamed, running toward him. Her hands glowed bright as she activated the cube. A powerful wave of energy erupted outward. The hunters froze mid-stride, their systems crackling. The light spread across the snow, pure and blinding. When it faded, only silence remained. The hunters' bodies lay still, their armor dim and broken. Ethan coughed, trying to sit up. You did it, he said weakly. She knelt beside him, her eyes glowing with tears. No, she whispered. We did it. Lily and Sarah ran to them, hugging tightly. The mountain was quiet again, only the wind whispering through the trees. Ethan looked at the wrecked machines, their cold metal glinting in the pale light. They'll send more, he said. She nodded slowly. Yes, but now we know we can fight. He smiled, tired but proud. Then we'll be ready. The first light of dawn broke over the peaks, painting the snow gold. They stood together, human and alien, broken but alive. The war was not over, but hope had found its way into the mountains. And for the first time since his birthday, Ethan felt something he hadn't felt in years. Not fear, not exhaustion, but purpose. The sun rose slowly over the frozen peaks. Its light touched the wreckage of the battle like gold spilling across steel. Smoke still rose from the fallen hunters, their once shining armor now dull and lifeless. Ethan stood at the edge of the cliff, wind tugging at his jacket. His hands were scraped and bleeding, but his eyes were calm. Behind him, the alien mother knelt beside the cube, repairing its inner core. The faint hum of energy filled the air again. She looked up at Ethan and said softly, You should rest. He shook his head. Can't, they'll come again. Her silver eyes glowed in the morning light. Not soon, she said. You hurt. You did enough. He smiled faintly. You keep saying that, but trouble keeps finding us. For a moment she almost laughed. It was the first time he'd seen her relax since the crash, but then her expression turned distant, thoughtful. Ethan noticed the strange pendant around her neck. It was not decoration. It was a seal, marked with symbols he had seen on the cube. What is that? He asked, nodding toward it. She hesitated, fingers brushing the glowing surface. It is my crest, she said finally. It means, I am heir. Ethan frowned. Heir to what? She met his gaze, her voice quiet. To a throne no one believes in anymore. He stared at her, realization dawning slowly. Your royalty, he whispered. She nodded. I was, she said, before the hunters took the capital, before my people scattered. She looked toward the horizon. Now I am just mother. Ethan's mind spun. Everything that had happened suddenly made sense. The advanced cube, the hunter's obsession, the relentless chase. They weren't after a refugee, he murmured. They were after a queen. She lowered her head. No, after a symbol, she said. If they kill me, hope dies with me. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. Well, you picked the wrong planet to crash on, because I'm not letting them kill you. Her eyes softened. Why? He smiled. Because you're not the only one who lost something worth protecting. For a while, silence filled the cabin. Lily and Sarah were outside, building small towers of snow and laughing softly. Their laughter echoed like music in the cold air. For the first time since the crash, the mountain felt alive. Ethan joined them for a moment. Watching the two children play, he turned to the alien mother. We can't stay here forever, he said. They'll track the wreck again. We need a real plan. She nodded slowly. There is one, she said. If we reach the northern ridge, there is an ancient beacon. My ancestors used it to call ships beyond our stars. Ethan raised an eyebrow. And you think it still works? She smiled faintly. It must, or we die here. They packed what little they had. The cube pulsed with new energy, powered by the crystal Ethan had recovered. The path ahead was dangerous. Steep cliffs, frozen valleys, and the unknown. As they began their climb, the alien mother stumbled. Ethan caught her, their eyes meeting briefly. For a moment, the silence between them said more than words. You humans, she whispered. You always surprise me. He grinned. We do that a lot. By nightfall they reached a cave high in the ridge. Inside, glowing veins of crystal lit the stone walls. The alien mother touched them with reverence. This place, it remembers us, she said. My people mined energy from these mountains long ago. Ethan looked around. Then maybe we can use it. They worked together, connecting the cube to the crystal veins. Sparks of blue light filled the air. The sound of old power awakened, like the heartbeat of the mountain itself. The alien mother pressed her pendant into the cube's core. Symbols flared across its surface, and a beam of light shot upward, piercing the clouds. Far above, In the black ocean of space, a dormant relay flickered to life for the first time in centuries. The signal had been sent. Ethan stepped back, watching the beam fade. "So, someone's coming for you," he said. She looked at him quietly. "Not just for me," she said. "For you too. You helped royal blood. That means you are part of the vow." He frowned. "Vow?" Her voice was soft but certain. "A life saved is a life shared. Your fate is now tied with ours." He smiled faintly. "Guess I always wanted to see the stars." Outside, the wind howled, but the sky above flickered with distant movement. Ships, faint, but drawing closer. Lily and Sarah curled beside the fire, their laughter fading into dreams. The alien mother sat beside Ethan, the glow of the crystals painting her skin in silver and blue. "Thank you," she said softly, "for everything." He looked at her, his voice quiet. "Don't thank me yet. We still have to survive what's coming next." And far above the clouds, something massive moved through the stars, answering the ancient call. The night sky above the mountain glowed like fire. The ancient beacon pulsed brighter with every second, sending waves of light into the heavens. Ethan stood at the cave's edge, wind whipping his hair. His rifle was slung across his back, and exhaustion lined his face, but in his eyes burned a calm resolve. Beside him, the alien mother watched the beam reach the clouds, her silver eyes shining. "They will come," she said. "My people will answer." Ethan nodded slowly. "And the hunters?" Her gaze darkened. "They will come first." Down in the valley below, streaks of blue light moved through the clouds. The hunters had tracked the signal. They came in dozens this time, metallic wings cutting through the fog, silent and merciless. Ethan took a deep breath. "Then we hold the line." Inside the cave, Lily and Sarah huddled near the glowing crystals, their small hands clasped together, watching their parents prepare for the final stand. Ethan turned to Lily, his voice steady. "No matter what happens, you stay with her, understand?" Lily nodded, tears glimmering. "I love you, Dad." He smiled softly. "I know. I love you too, kiddo." Outside, the ground shook as the first blast hit. A beam of energy struck the cliff, sending rocks flying. Ethan and the alien mother ran out together. The hunters descended, glowing eyes fixed on them. "Now," she said, raising her hand. The cube floated between them, spinning faster. Light poured from it, forming a shield that rippled like liquid glass. The first shots hit it and scattered like sparks. Ethan fired through the gaps, each bullet striking true. His movements were fast, desperate, human. The alien mother moved beside him, her energy merging with the cube's rhythm. Together they looked like light and fire, a fusion of two worlds. One of the hunters broke through the field, lunging at Ethan. He rolled aside, slamming his wrench into its core. Sparks burst out, and the creature fell, but another followed, knocking him backward. The alien mother screamed his name. Her energy flared bright. She unleashed a wave that tore through 3 hunters at once, but the power drained her quickly. She stumbled, falling to her knees. Ethan crawled to her, blood on his cheek. "Stay with me," he said. She looked up, her voice soft. "If I fall, finish the signal." He shook his head. "No, we do this together." Another explosion tore through the mountain. Stones rained from above. The hunters closed in, surrounding them. Their leader stepped forward, a towering figure of dark metal and faint red light. Its voice echoed like thunder. "Surrender the royal blood." Ethan raised his rifle, his voice low. "Come take it." The hunter aimed its weapon, but before it could fire, the ground split apart. A blinding light fell from the sky. A massive ship broke through the clouds, silver and gold, its engines roaring like thunder. The alien fleet had arrived. The hunters turned, confused, the sky filled with energy blasts as ships descended in formation. Blue fire streaked across the mountains, lighting the night like a new dawn. Ethan helped the alien mother stand. "Looks like your people showed up." She smiled faintly, weak but alive. "Because you believed," she whispered. A smaller craft descended near them, soldiers in shimmering armor rushing out. They surrounded the royal mother and bowed deeply. "Your Highness," one said. "We came the moment the beacon woke." She looked at Ethan, her eyes full of emotion. "He is the reason I'm alive," she said. "He saved me and my child." The The soldiers looked at him with awe. Then he has the vow, one replied. He is bound to the royal star. Ethan blinked, confused. Bound? She smiled softly. It means wherever my people go, you will never be forgotten. He looked at her for a long moment, then nodded. Guess that means I finally get to see the stars. She reached out and touched his hand. Not as a mechanic, she said, as the man who reminded us what kindness means. The wind howled around them as the last hunter fell. The sky cleared, and light from the ships illuminated the mountains like morning. Lily and Sarah ran out of the cave, hugging their parents tightly. The two children laughed as the ships hovered above, their lights reflecting in their eyes. Ethan looked at the alien mother. So what happens now? She smiled. Now we go home. He looked at the sky, his heart heavy but full. Then let's not keep them waiting. As the royal ship's ramp lowered, Ethan turned one last time toward the burning horizon. He had missed his birthday, lost his home, and faced death more than once. But he had found something far greater. A purpose, a family, and a future among the stars. The ramp closed, the engines roared, and the ship rose into the heavens, disappearing into the light. And from that day, across two worlds, they spoke of the human who gave up his birthday to save an alien mother, and in doing so changed the destiny of galaxies.